External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said he was perplexed at Washington's stance targeting India for its purchases of Russian oil. He reminded those who criticize India and are jumping over one another to lay the blame at New Delhi's doorstep for funding Russia's war in Ukraine that India isn't the largest buyer.
We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian oil, that is China. We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian LNG. I'm not sure, but I think that is the European Union. We are not the country which has the biggest trade surge with Russia after 2022. I think there are some countries to the south.
Jaishankar underscored the inconsistency of the US measure, particularly given that other major entities, including China and the European Union, purchased far more Russian energy without facing similar ramifications. He argued that India's strategy aims to stabilize global energy markets and should not be singled out.
We are a country where actually the Americans said for the last few years that we should do everything to stabilize the world energy markets, including buying oil from Russia. Incidentally, we also buy oil from America, and that amount has been increasing. So, quite honestly, we are very perplexed at the logic of the argument that you had referred to.
The External Affairs Minister's comments came after US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in a TV interview that India is profiteering from discounted Russian crude. Bessent claimed that India's Russian oil imports had jumped from 1% to 42% after the start of the war. Quote, India is just profiteering. They are reselling what I would call Indian arbitrage, buying cheap Russian oil, reselling it as a product, has just sprung up during the war, which is unacceptable. Bessent's claim was parroted by Peter Navarro, Trump's trade advisor. Again, he repeated his claim on Maharaj tariffs, saying India is Kremlin's laundromat and was cheating US on trade. Commenting on his recent opinion piece in FT, where he slammed India, Navarro said he wrote the piece to counter the Indian government's propaganda. Quote, look at your role in global economy. It's not creating peace, it's perpetuating war. Scott Bessent also sought to make a distinction between why India was being penalized while China wasn't facing the same treatment. Bessent said that China was already a long-term buyer of Russian oil before Moscow invaded Ukraine, and that trade, even though it went up from 13% to 16%, wasn't a substantial jump, according to him. This isn't the first time Bessent has taken aim at New Delhi. Last week, in an interview with Bloomberg, he threatened India with further tariffs. Trump has slapped 25% tariffs on Indian goods and an additional 25% for doing business with Russia. The additional tariff comes into effect from the 27th of August. He also sought to nudge Europe to punish New Delhi. India has maintained that Russian oil has helped cushion domestic inflation, meet rising energy needs, and sustain economic growth at a time of global volatility.